This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
That was the sound residents in Madison County heard all night long. Crews working to clear the path left by severe storms and a possible tornado that moved through central Indiana.
This morning we have live team coverage tracking the damage and the cleanup process now underway. Thanks for watching Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We will get to our team coverage in Madison County in just a moment. But first, a lot of people wondering if those storms are going to stick around or if we're going to have a calm day for the cleanup efforts that will be getting underway, I'm sure, very soon.
Yeah, all the storms from yesterday, long gone.
Good.
So the severe weather is out of here. It's a quiet morning for us right now. There could be a few isolated storms this afternoon we'll have to keep an eye on, but at least the next 10 to 12 hours, we should be in decent shape. Here's the view from downtown to the north, and the sun just starting to brighten the sky. Skies are partly cloudy. A little bit of patchy fog in spots, especially where you saw some of the heavier rainfall yesterday, but no rain on Storm Team 6 radar right now, which is certainly good news as we begin the cleanup from all the storms, which were mainly north of Interstate 70. I know you said had some storms earlier with heavy downpours yesterday afternoon south of Interstate 70, but those were non-severe. And as far as what's going on right now, you notice some storms creeping through the Angola area way in northern Indiana. That's where the front is. And these storms in Omaha are going to ride right along that front. So the best storm chances today will be across northern portions of the area, I would say, from Lafayette to Tipton, say to Hartford City and points to the north. To this further south you go, less in the way of any storm chances today and just dry conditions. Most of us in the 70s here this morning. It's a warm summer-like day once again with partly cloudy skies. 81 already by the noon hour, and then by 4 p.m. a few of those isolated storms will start to flare up, but again, mainly in northern locations with a high temperature today, Meredith and Nicole, of 85 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you. Now to Madison County, where a huge effort will get underway once the sun is up to start cleaning up after a possible tornado.
The severe weather left behind downed trees and downed power lines all across Pendleton. This morning, we have got live team coverage. Storm Team 6's Alyssa Donovan is getting a look at the damage. But first, we begin with our Rafael Sanchez. Rafael, you have been watching this cleanup and recovery all throughout the night. They still have a ways to go, though.
Meredith and Nicole, good morning. We've been very mobile today, as mobile as possible, considering the situation here in Pendleton. Here at the intersection of West High and South Main Street, I want to show you something because I'm not really sure how this utility pole has not collapsed yet. It's snapped in two different places. It is dangling because it's being held by other utility wires, but this is one of the many intersections which public safety officials are really concerned about. And as you travel throughout Pendleton, you will see many of these sort of power lines in this kind of condition. That is why they're asking people, where possible, to shelter in place. They don't want people out and about taking that for granted because that could collapse at any moment. Behind that, you could see a number of downed trees, one of the many neighborhoods affected by trees that collapsed, that toppled when those heavy winds just roared through here. Let me take you to the downtown area where just an hour ago, before the sun rose, it was dark, only lit by generators. Check it out. Most of the town of Pendleton is in the dark, as you can see. Here in the heart of town, they have a number of generators that have those big lights on as utility companies are able to begin the process of removing the trees and working on power lines. If you look down this street, you can see a number of crews already on the scene, removing trees and working on the restoration of power. This will take a number of days. In fact, emergency management tells us it could take up to 2 to 4 days to get Pendleton back all the way up with power. In the meantime, the good news for now, the weather is rather cool for a day here in May. In the meantime, while that goes on, of course, that will be the priority. Clearing all the trees to restore power to this community as soon as possible. I think because it is cool and it is dry so far, it's going to help out with the recovery process. And as you can see, the sun is beginning to rise. We're able to get a better sense of the damage. We should point out that the National Weather Service will send out a team to Pendleton to check out the damage based on what they see there on the ground, based on what they see with the debris and how those trees were twisted and turned. They'll be able to determine what kind of possible tornado, if a tornado came through here. As you know, as a student of Todd Clausen, our meteorologist, I've covered many of these storms, and Todd has taught me the enhanced Fujita scale that will determine, based on the damage, whether or not a tornado came through here. It could have also been strong line winds. We'll see what happens. Whether it is strong line winds or a tornado, that will not change the insurance claims that many of the folks that live in this neighborhood will have to file today. Tornado or strong line winds, the claim is the same. You still have to make the call to repair your roof and to replace those trees. We are live in Pendleton. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6. But first, Storm Team 6's Alyssa Donovan is here with me as well. She's checking it out as well. Alyssa, tell me what's happening down where you are this morning.
So, Rafael, we were able to get off of that main State Street, and we did take a side road, and we found quite a bit of damage. I'll show you right behind me. Look at this. This tree is on this house, and there's actually a tree crew here on this street with us, and they have been working throughout the night. They've been working for 10 hours is what they told me. They got here about 9 o'clock last night. But what they told me about this tree behind me is it actually was thrown from across the street. They showed me the stump. So very strong winds came through here yesterday, and that is just one house with a tree on it. As I walked down this street, there were 3 more houses with trees that had fallen onto them. So quite a bit of damage. We're starting to see some of that more extensive damage that we've been telling you about as we've ventured into these neighborhoods. I also want to show you just across the street from these houses, there's a field, a soccer field, and you can see some of those goalposts have been thrown over from that wind. And here come some of those tree crews right now. This is the gentleman I spoke with earlier, and they said they've been working for hours and hours. When I asked them, what is the hardest hit part that you've seen, they said they can't say. Every area that they've been working overnight tonight has been full of damage. And of course, we're going to continue to follow them as they work. I'm sure these gentlemen are starting to get tired. They have been working throughout the night, but this is just a small part of that damage that we've been telling you about. And of course, we're going to continue to stay on top of this and bring you the latest on this storm damage in Pendleton. I'll send it back to you, Rafael.
Alyssa Donovan live here in Pendleton with me. We should give a big shout out to those utility workers as well as to all the first responders from all over central Indiana that came out last night and really helped this town get its footing, getting them prepared for the cleanup today for the recovery process. Like Alyssa, I will also be mobile. We'll bring you some live pictures from a different location in the next half hour and put this storm in its perspective. We're live this morning in Pendleton, in Madison County. Rafael Sanchez, now back to you.
Rafael, thank you. We know it is a big job ahead.
Yeah, and again, here's what we know right now. Today, the National Weather Service will survey the damage to confirm if a tornado touched down. A shelter for anyone in need is set up at the Pendleton Heights High School right now. Thousands of residents are without power. Officials say it could take 2 to 4 days to get the lights back on.
For more on the severe weather, you can head to the IndyChannel.com or the RTV6 app. We've got the latest pictures and updates from officials as they work to get cleanup started this morning.
An important programming note now because of the tornado warnings last night. The new episode of The Bachelorette did not air. It will air in full this afternoon on RTV6 from 3 to 5 p.m. You can also log on to the ABC app and watch the episode anytime. The severe weather also hit Ohio hard overnight. New video just in is beginning to show the damage around the Dayton area.
The National Weather Service saying it looks like 2 tornadoes touched down in the same area around the same time. One of the tornadoes went right by a Dayton church where 25 people were hunkered down inside. Luckily, no one was injured, but those who hid out during the storm say it was terrifying.
And I'm laying there shaking. My head's up against the wall and the wall shaking back and forth. There's wind from the tornadoes pushing through up through the vent into my face, and I'm freaking out sitting there. It lasts about, I'd say, 10 to 15 seconds. Scariest 15 seconds of my life.
Debris was so thick in some parts of Dayton, snow plows were sent out to clear major interstates and roads. An estimated 5 million people are without power in Ohio this morning.
Now we want to look ahead to the morning commute. Now Elena Martella is standing by with a traffic update. Elena, good morning.
Good morning, Nicole. So as you're taking to the roads right now, here is a look at I-465, the ditch road, those flashing lights. Some INDOT crews still on the scene, but as you can see right here, everything's moving along just fine up on that north side. So let's take a look at the map. We have that closure, the northbound and southbound ramps of I-69, those exit ramps to State Road 38, closed to get around it. Southbound drivers exit at State Road 109, head south, turn right to go westbound on US 36, and then left or right to return to State Road 38. Northbound drivers exit onto southbound State Road 13, turn left to go northbound on US 36, and then left or right to return to State Road 38. And we'll, of course, let you know when it opens back up for your drive.
All right, thanks, Elena. Time now is 6:10. We are dealing with quiet conditions this morning. That is the good news as you all head back to work here this morning after the holiday yesterday. There's no storms, no rain. In fact, here across central Indiana, we do just have some more in the way of clouds to the north, but those too will burn off. With that said, our rain chances are not completely zero here throughout the day today. The front that went through yesterday, helping to trigger some of these storms, is now stationary across northern Indiana, and these storms near Omaha are going to ride right along that front. So the further north you are today, the better chances you will have of seeing some isolated storms that should not be, one, as strong, two, not as widespread as they were yesterday. Everybody's in the 70s this morning, with the exception of Crawfordsville at 69 degrees. Temperatures today very summer-like once again. Quite a bit of humidity around as well, as we'll be in the mid-80s, but it should be a beautiful night for baseball if you're heading to Victory Field this evening, starting off in the mid-80s, falling into the upper 70s as they take on Charlotte. First pitch is 7:05, so again, it should be a beautiful night as they begin a homestand here in central Indiana once again.
All right, Todd, thank you. Still ahead, embracing the jobs of the future and the technology skills they will require. The company hiring Hoosiers for these high-tech jobs, no matter the challenges those employees may face after the break.
Plus, a paycheck nearly as sweet as an Indy 500 win. How much Simon Pagenaud and Team Penske are pocketing this morning? That's coming up after the break.
Furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store.
Our Hiring Hoosiers initiative is all about connecting you with jobs and training programs to help you be successful. This week, we're focusing on the best of technology in our state.
That can require new skills to be learned, but also barriers that employees may have to overcome to land the job. Our Rafael Sanchez has a look at the Purdue student working to make sure everyone can land a high-tech job.
You do that gesture, it'll turn on this laser pointers.
No limitations in this lab.
This one gives you touch sensations.
Ting Zhang is in touch with finding new ways to remove obstacles to the workplace.
This will make a difference for people with disabilities.
Haptimage is behind the technology, which includes a controller and software. It will allow people with visual impairments to recognize what's on the screen and let them pursue careers, whether in a forensics lab, architecture, or social media.
We can use this to help blind people actually, so they can feel this, like you see this as a red blood cell.
It's this kind of testing and thinking that's expected to change how people with disabilities will be able to pursue their careers.
Unemployment of people with disabilities is a very difficult problem. There's a lot of factors involved, and we're really focusing on giving them the tools to be successful.
We have about 10 of these different things that we've iterated through. And
Shruti Suresh is also focused on removing barriers. She's working on devices to help people with limited use of their hands.
I think it's euphoric to know that something works from a technological point of view as well as from an impact point of view. So it's pretty amazing. The main thing we're trying to do is improve their quality of life. And by improving their quality of life, we want to give them opportunities to pursue things that they may or may not have had access to in the past.
The lab has worked with the Indiana and Texas schools of the blind and visually impaired to test their products. For more information, click on this story at hiringhoosiers.com.
And tomorrow, the nonprofit academy that will teach anyone to code. How 1150 Academy is working to help Hoosiers learn this critical skill and fill 1,000 jobs. That's tomorrow on Good Morning Indiana at 6 a.m. It is 6:16. Todd, you've got to check out our weather.
Yeah, thankfully much more quiet this morning than it was yesterday afternoon and evening. Here's a look from downtown to the north, and in that northerly direction, you still notice a little bit in the way of cloud cover, but the sun will burn that off pretty quickly now that it's getting higher above the horizon. Official sunrise here at 6:21, so just in a few minutes. Outside right now on radar, this is exactly what we need this morning. It is quiet. There is no rain whatsoever anywhere across the state of Indiana, with the exception of an isolated shower there just north of Fort Wayne. But here in central Indiana, we're just dealing again with a little bit of cloud cover north of Indy. It's mainly clear, though, as you work your way from Bloomington over towards the Greensburg area. That's what's left of the storms that went through central Indiana and then eventually into the Dayton area, where we'll likely confirm some tornadoes later on this afternoon, this morning when the National Weather Service heads out. And then back off to our west, there's some more storms in Nebraska. And this has been the case really for at least over the last week. We've been dealing with these waves of rain that come through. Some of them have been in the morning, and then the afternoon have been nice. Yesterday, the first half of the day was great for our Memorial Day, and then the storms rolled through. Well, today, I do think some of these storms will ride right along the warm front, and that was the key for the 500, too. Where was the placement of the front going to be? Well, we lucked out for the 500. We did not luck out yesterday. It was moving through central Indiana during the peak heating of the day, and that helped to give some of the storms that rotation as they moved across the state. Now, today, there's a marginal risk for severe weather. I think this will probably be scaled back at the next update from the Storm Prediction Center, at least for Indianapolis to the south. To the north, though, they probably will maintain the chance of an isolated storm in the forecast. That could be borderline strong to severe throughout the afternoon hours. And you can see them flaring up real quick there during the peak heating of the day. But they're mainly confined to the northern third of the state of Indiana. So if you live there, you're traveling there, be a little weather aware here. The main threat with those today would be some damaging winds as they move through. 70s right now across the entire area. We'll climb into the 80s for just about everybody today, and we get there pretty quickly. In fact, up to 82 degrees already by the noon hour with partly cloudy skies. Then we build in those spotty storm chances in northern locations with a high around 84 degrees. Now, tomorrow a little cooler because of more in the way of cloud cover and more in the way of rainfall. So tomorrow's forecast, we keep the chance of storms in basically all day. Would that say it's not a solid batch of rain coming through? It's more of those waves of rain that we've been dealing with. And here we go. We have to deal with some rain throughout the morning hours tomorrow. Then we get a good break with partly cloudy skies, even maybe mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. And then more storms will flare up throughout the evening and into early Thursday morning. And the Storm Prediction Center does have a part of the area under the slight risk for severe weather tomorrow. So tomorrow, a little better potential once again of severe storms across the area, at least compared to today. Thursday, scattered showers, probably no severe weather threat, and then a decent stretch of weather finally heading into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. More seasonable temperatures in the 70s, and I really wouldn't worry about those storm chances Saturday and Sunday. They should be very, very spotty. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Ditch Road on the north side. Everything's moving along just fine. That overnight road work has wrapped up, so you're good to go if this is part of your drive. Let's take a look at the map. Those ramps are still closed. Northbound, southbound I-69 exit ramps to State Road 38. Southbound drivers exit at State Road 109. Turn right to go westbound on US 36. Left or right to return to southbound State Road 38. Northbound drivers exit onto southbound State Road 13. Turn left to go northbound on US 36. And then left or right to reach State Road 38.
Elena, thank you. Now to some other non-weather related headlines across central Indiana this morning. Investigators are still working to figure out what led to human remains being found in a suitcase.
The discovery was made in a neighborhood on the southeast side yesterday afternoon. Police say they were called to the area after people walking near a creek along Villa Avenue near Raymond and Shelby Streets found the remains. The Marion County Coroner's Office will now have to determine a cause of death before police can figure out exactly what happened. The identity of the victim has not been released at this time.
As the summer season arrives and more people hit the water across central Indiana, officials are sending an urgent warning to be careful. There have been several drownings in just the last few days alone. Currently, there are 3 active searches for people who reportedly drowned, including a 4-year-old who was swept away in a Delphi Creek last week.
The water levels are elevated. The current is moving pretty swift. It's deceiving looking at it, but once you get in it, you understand the dangers.
Officials say many of these accidents can be avoided by simply wearing life jackets.
New this morning, a big paycheck is headed to Indy 500 winner Simon Pagenaud and the Team Penske Racing Team. They will walk away with $2.6 million in prize money after Sunday's win at the Brickyard. That came from an overall purse of $13 million that was split among the racers. This marks the 18th time Team Penske has walked away with the winning check.
Still ahead, the Indiana 7th grader hoping to take home a spelling bee championship. How he prepared for the biggest week of his spelling career.
Plus, we've got your chance to win tickets to see Adam Sandler when his comedy tour stops in Central Indiana. Keep watching and listen for the cue to call in. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
You are simply the best.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 6:25. Here's a look at 465 at Ditch Road on the north side. You can see everything's moving along just fine.
Elena, thank you. Only on RTV6, it's officially Bee Week. Hundreds of students are hoping to spell their way to the top at the Scripps National Spelling Bee, hosted by the parent company of RTV6.
One of the students competing is IPS 7th grader Owen Norwalk. He's been hard at work all year, sacrificing time with his friends to make sure he's ready for the bee.
I don't go to recess and I study on my iPad. Every day I study root words and I memorize language rules, and I apply them to words that I don't know how to spell.
Owen's parents say they never have to push him to study. He does all of that on his own. Instead, they remind him to take breaks and maybe go see a movie from time to time.
Owen is one of 16 Indiana spellers at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. After taking preliminary tests on Monday, the spellers hit the stage today. The final rounds will start to air on ESPN this Thursday.
You know, I think it would be fun to have a station-wide spelling bee.
You would win because you were in the spelling bee in elementary school.
I was. I got fourth place. Got fourth place, but
that's pretty good.
You know, the three kids who beat me, I think they all went on to go to Ivy League schools or something. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
You went to Purdue. You did well for yourself.
I know.
I got snow. I got rain down, but after that,
I'm with you.
All right, outside right now, we're dealing with partly cloudy skies. It's a quiet morning for us. That's exactly what we need after yesterday's storms and potential tornadoes that rolled through. Temperatures in the 70s right now. There is the chance of a few isolated storms in northern locations today, but most of the locations from Indianapolis south should remain dry with highs in the 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you. Still ahead, the severe weather leaving a trail of damage across central Indiana. Some of the worst reports coming from Madison County and Pendleton this morning.
And we've got team coverage live on the ground in Pendleton, where those cleanup efforts are now underway and the biggest challenge officials are facing after the break.
Only on RTV6 News.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now it's 6:30 as the sun rises across central Indiana. People are cleaning up from powerful storms that rolled through last night.
Major work remains this morning in Pendleton after a possible tornado is being blamed for all of this damage. We have team coverage for you with Rafael Sanchez and Alyssa Donovan live in Pendleton this morning.
And our Elena Martella is keeping a close eye on the traffic impacts from the storm. But first, we need to get to Storm Team 6 meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, the good news is that as the sun rises, we are in calm conditions, which is good for folks needing to clean up.
Yeah, and we're calm not only this morning, but throughout much of the day, especially, I think, in the Pendleton area. There will be the chance of a few storms this afternoon up to the north. But yeah, this morning, your commute's going to be just fine. If you need to get out in your yards and clean up, you're just fine as well. Just a little bit of cloud cover across northern portions of the state. It's mainly clear down to the south, where thankfully you were able to avoid all the severe weather throughout the day yesterday. But we'll watch for today. These storms off to our west in Omaha. A couple of these could sneak again into northern locations throughout the afternoon hours. Maybe borderline strong to severe with those storms, but again, they're very, very spotty and they're confined, I think, to the northern half of the state. Here is the view from downtown to the north this morning. And again, there's more clouds in that direction compared if we were able to point that camera down to the south. Everybody is mild. Everybody's dealing with these muggy conditions with temperatures mainly in the 70s, and today's another summer-like day for us. We'll be near 80 degrees already by the noon hour. Then we'll build in those isolated storms later on this afternoon with high temperatures, Elena, that'll be topping off in the low to mid 80s.
All right, thank you, Todd. We still have those closures up in Pendleton, those ramp closures northbound and southbound I-69 exit ramps to State Road 38. To get around it, southbound drivers exit at State Road 109, head southbound, turn right to go westbound on US 36, and then left or right to return to State Road 38. And then northbound drivers exit onto southbound State Road 13, turn left to go northbound on US 36, and then again left or right to reach State Road 38. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Here's a look at the north split, I-65. Traffic is moving up to speed in both directions, so as you're making your way out on the roads, should be an easy drive. Just be sure to pay attention for areas that there might be debris.
Elena, thank you. Thousands of people remain in the dark this morning, especially in Madison County, after a possible tornado carved a path of damage across central Indiana.
We are getting a better idea of the destruction in Pendleton now that the sun is rising this morning.
Our Rafael Sanchez has been in Pendleton all throughout the night, and he leads our live team coverage this morning. Rafael, now that the sun is up, what are you seeing?
Just wow. I mean, what else can you say? Your heart breaks for those that have to deal with storm damage this morning. But at the root of the problem, Meredith and Nicole, good morning, the strong winds that just ripped through here, forcing trees like this, a huge tree, to topple over, bringing up the earth, damaging infrastructure. One of the many sites you will see, we are near Main Street and West High Street, where a number of trees just came crashing down on this side. More trees came down by the Postal Service. It's possible that there may not be any mail delivery today because the trucks can't get out. But what you are seeing right there on your screen are these utility lines. We're not sure what they are. We're not going to get too close. Needless to say, it's dangerous. And as you go throughout Pendleton, whether it's in the downtown, town of Pendleton area, or throughout the neighborhoods, you will see many, many trees down. As you can imagine, many insurance claims will have to be filed today because of the losses and the damage and the impact, not only to the infrastructure, but also to property. That's the situation right now. And we can see already homeowners up early this morning right across the street. They're on Main Street. There's a lady already picking up and getting her property all cleaned up. It will be a day of recovery. Storm Team 6's Alyssa Donovan is also here in Pendleton helping us out with the coverage. Alyssa, help us put this all in perspective. What are you seeing on your side of town?
You know what, Rafael, we are seeing quite a bit of extensive damage. We actually got off of that main State Street and we turned onto one of those side roads as soon as it got a little bit lighter out, and it is a lot here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Just down this street, you can see that this fence was blown over. You can't quite see the extent of it from this angle, but let's take you over just to this other side of this little alleyway, and you can see we have several trees down. This one is down on top of a house, and then behind me you can see that's pulled this power line and also ripped down that homeowner's fence there. And this power line is down, and it is down across the roadway here. And then you can see it's also down on top of this car, which also has another tree on it. And that is one of those large trees, much like the ones that we've been talking about all day, that were uprooted by this storm. And just behind me, that tree crew, it's Fields Tree Crew. They are actually with IPL. They have been working throughout the night, removing some of those large trees. Now their goal is to free up these power lines and to get the power back on. So they are not working for the homeowners right now. The homeowners are actually going to have to call other tree crews or call this tree crew after they're done with dealing with those power lines. So they're trying to help get the power back on. And just behind me, I want to show you this as well. This tree has toppled over onto this house, but I'm actually told by that tree crew that the stump is on this side of the road. So that tree was actually thrown across this road into this homeowner's house. And I did take a walk down this road earlier, and that tree is one of 3 trees on 3 different houses down that street. So that really shows you just the scope of the damage. I talked to that tree crew a little bit earlier, and they told me that they've been out here for about 10 hours. And I asked them if this is the hardest hit area, and they said they can't really say because every spot that they have gone to and started doing that removal has looked just about as bad. So that really shows you just how much damage happened here in Pendleton. And of course, those crews that are working today are going to be working throughout the day. The main goal is to get the power back on for the people here in Pendleton. I'll send it back to you, Raphael.
Storm Team 6's Alyssa Donovan putting this all in perspective for us. This cleanup will be a tall order. There are trees everywhere. And as Alyssa mentioned, you may have to call your own tree company to come out. Let me just remind you of one thing to protect you and your money. Any contract over $150, and something like this is going to cost you more than $150, has to be in writing, and make sure you get plenty of estimates. Let me show you more of the damage on this street alone. This is a major concern. We're not sure how this utility pole is still there because it snapped in 2 different locations, but this is why public officials are asking people to shelter in place. It's for your safety. We don't know when or if or how that pole will finally collapse, but it will have to be taken down. And the folks here in Pendleton and the surrounding areas want people to be safe. So if you see something like that, just stay away. If you have to deal with a tree on your property like this, you need to hire a contractor. Make sure everything you do today is in writing. And please, please, please do not pay for anything up front. Pay it in installments. As the work gets done, the contractor can get your money. One more thing, South Madison County schools are canceled for the day, and the power, I'm being told they hope to have it up between the next 2 to 4 days. We'll keep you up to date as this all progresses. We're live in Pendleton. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
Rafael, thank you. And you and Alyssa, please be safe out there as well. We do have complete coverage of the storm damage across central Indiana for you. Just head to our website, theindychannel.com, or the RTV6 app. That's where you can find pictures and videos from across the region.
And because of the dangerous severe weather we saw make its way through central Indiana last night, we have a programming note for you. Last night, the new episode of The Bachelorette did not air. It will air in full this afternoon on RTV6 from 3 to 5 p.m. You can also log on to the ABC app and watch the episode anytime. Now we want to toss it over to Storm Team 6's Todd Clausen. Todd, today a lot calmer.
Yeah, this morning there's no storms out here. We are expecting a few storms later on this afternoon, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. That is the good news. Just a little more in the way of cloud cover this morning to the north compared to southern locations here. But here are the storms we'll have to keep an eye on. Still well off to our west, and they're going to ride right along the front that is now stationed across northern Indiana. If you look real close here, there are a few isolated downpours just north of Fort Wayne. So that shows you where the front is. So it's outside of our viewing area. And as some of these storms come in, they'll be very, very spotty later on this afternoon. Our featured dog of the day here is Josie. And Josie's kind of looking at me. Will these please stop forecasting rain? Well, there will be some improvement in the coming days, Josie, for all you other four-legged friends out there as well. The storm chances, again, just very isolated today with temperatures climbing up into the 80s. We'll talk about your weekend forecast, which I think you're finally going to like, coming up here in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. If you're looking to spend a night laughing, you're going to want to listen up. After the break, we have your chance to win tickets to see Adam Sandler live this weekend. It's 6:39. We'll be right back. Time now is 6:41, and we are taking a live look in Pendleton right now. This is after severe storms, possibly a tornado, tore through the area last night. You can see this downed power line toppled on top of a tree. There is so much damage there. We will continue to follow this story throughout Good Morning Indiana and throughout the rest of the day. Once again, they are asking folks, if you don't need to come into Pendleton today, if you don't need to leave your home, please do not do so. It is for your safety.
We continue to follow breaking news this morning as one person was seriously injured in a late night shooting. The shooting happened just after midnight near New York and Randolph Streets. That's on the city's east side. IMPD tells us 2 people were shot, including one person who was shot in the head. This morning, we're working to learn what led up to the gunfire. Local animal shelters, rescue groups, and veterinary clinics are concerned about a deadly virus impacting dogs. Parvo is a highly contagious disease that spreads through infected fecal matter. It likes to spread in warm weather, so spring is prime time. Symptoms include being lethargic and not wanting to eat. The West Michigan Street Vet Clinic has seen about 80 cases so far this year. The vaccine to prevent parvo only costs $10 at that clinic, and they encourage all pet owners to get their animals vaccinated and treated at the first sign of symptoms. And here at home, we saw a lot of storms moving through our area. We've been showing you that storm damage this morning, but luckily, Meredith, it's going to be calmer today.
Yeah, as the sun rises and people are getting out to clean up that damage, they couldn't ask for a better forecast, Todd.
Yeah, it's nice and quiet this morning. The sun is shining. The temperatures are what we'll call probably a little warm for this time of morning as we're sitting in the 70s. But as you look to the north, there's just a little more in the way of cloud cover, but it is completely dry. That is the good news. I want to just quickly recap these tornado reports, and you can see there's a lot of them here across central Indiana. 4 of them down in Madison County, some more up in northern portions of Miami County, some in Grant County, then a few more as you work your way into Whitley County. These will be broken down, so some of these reports are probably the same tornado that touched down or went through the same areas, just multiple reports. But the Weather Service will be going out and investigating those here throughout the day today. The Indianapolis office for the ones in Madison County, and then some of them to the north will be the Northern Indiana Weather Office that'll investigate those. So here's radar. Again, it's quiet this morning, a little more in the way of cloud cover. To the north, it's mainly clear in southern locations, but the sun will start to burn any cloud cover that's out there off, and that will certainly be good news. I zoomed into northern Indiana here for a reason, and you see there's a few storms that are out there right now. Nothing significant, but where these storms are, that is where the front lies. So yesterday, the front was in the process of moving through central Indiana during the peak heating of the day, and then those storms came in, and that's what helped to trigger a lot of these tornado warnings and potential tornadoes. But now that the front is stalled to northern Indiana, that excludes most of us from the storm chances throughout the day today. Eventually, these storms near Omaha will make their way towards Indiana, but they're going to move into the area where that front is. So that's why we are going to see the best storm chances up to the north, and I would expect the Storm Prediction Center probably to scale back this marginal risk a little bit, even in Indianapolis and southern locations, because I do think the storm threat is mainly going to be up here in northern locales. So with that said, anytime after about 2 o'clock as we get into the peak heating of the day, watch for a few of these storms to develop. Lafayette, Kokomo over towards Hartford City, points to the north, have the best chance of seeing the storms, although a couple isolated downpours will be possible as you work your way towards Muncie and Richmond, but nothing like yesterday, nothing that's going to be super widespread here across the area. So that is certainly good news. Temperature-wise, we are in the 70s, 73 in Bloomington, 72 in Indy, it's 71 to the north. There's a lot of humidity around, a very summer-like feel here once again all across the area today as temperatures will be climbing into the mid-80s. We're looking at highs between about 80 to 85 degrees depending on where you are, with the cooler temperatures to the north. And then for the day tomorrow, we're still warm, right around 80 degrees, but tomorrow a little better chance of some showers and thunderstorms off and on throughout the day. It's not a washout for your Wednesday, but watch how these storms come through. And this has been the pattern for the last week and a half. No washouts, but these periods of rain comes through with some downpours, then the sun comes out, and I know that makes it hard to schedule your outdoor plans because well, if it's downpouring, you think you're done for the day, and then all of a sudden the sun comes back out. So you just got to keep an eye on radar. There's a lot of dry hours throughout the daytime hours tomorrow, and then there's another push of what we'll call heavier showers and potentially stronger storms late tomorrow night into Thursday. And the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted that for tomorrow with this slight risk for severe weather from Indianapolis off towards the east into Muncie and the Richmond area. But looking forward in this forecast, once we get to Thursday, we're dealing with some showers, but probably no severe weather. And then Friday, Saturday, and as we extend out here on your 7-day planning forecast, a pretty nice stretch of weather. There's some small rain chances with some thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday, but very, very isolated. Otherwise, it's a pretty decent 4-day stretch there extending into Monday of next week with plenty of sunshine and highs highs, Elena, in the 70s.
All right, thank you, Todd. So if you're in Pendleton right now, the northbound and southbound I-69 ramps to State Road 38 are closed. Now, there's also a suspended travel advisory into Pendleton. So if you are in Pendleton, you're not going to want to go anywhere. You can't go to Pendleton right now. So ISP just tweeted that out. So pay attention to that. If you are making your way towards the city, the good news is the westbound US 36 is open to I-69. So pay attention to that if it is part of your drive. Let's take a look down on the south side, though. I-65 at Main Street down in Greenwood. You can see traffic is moving along just fine, and those roads are dry down there. But I can't stress enough, pay attention for any area there might be debris out on the roadways in case you were impacted by any of last night's storms.
Elena, thank you. Our RTV6 Hiring Hoosiers initiative is working for you, helping connect you with job opportunities in your community. We are always on the hunt for open positions that could better your life. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez has a closer look.
So many job choices out there. Let's find the perfect one just for you. Anna Pentenberg with Spherion Staffing is here to join us for the jobs of the week. Anna, let's get to work.
All right. We're going to get started with a facilities coordinator. This is a position located near Keystone and 82nd Street. This is a Monday through Friday position, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at $18 an hour. Administrative experience is preferred. You'd be helping grant building access, answer calls, and coordinate meetings.
Let's head out to the airport. And this one, you're looking for weekend-only forklift operators.
Yes, just Saturday and Sunday. We've got a couple shifts. We've got 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at $14 an hour and 5 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. at $14.50 an hour. Sit-down forklift experience is required. We can get you started almost immediately.
Let's head over to Hamilton County. This is a production associate.
Yes, this is a Monday through Friday position, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at $12 an hour. This is for a candle company helping clean jars, apply labels, and package and inspect the product. Stable job history is required, and being bilingual is definitely a plus.
I want to know more about this one. This is in Boone County. This is a material handler.
Yes, you'd be helping lift, sort, and stack some product for a shift that is Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from midnight to 8:30 a.m. This is $14.50 an hour, and a team player attitude is definitely preferred.
We are in a tight labor market. If someone comes to you and says, look, I saw the jobs of the week, I like that one in particular, but I need $1 more. Is that negotiable? Can I ask for more money when I come visit you?
If you've got the experience and the skills, we can absolutely negotiate that. There's no doubt about it.
So keep that in mind.
Yep, absolutely.
How do we get a hold of you?
You can call or text us at our phone number at 317-870-5555. Or you can check out our jobs posted at Spherion.com.
Of course, all of the jobs of the week are on our website, hiringhoosiers.com, and these are the jobs of the week.
And you can find all of these jobs along with all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories on our website, hiringhoosiers.com.
All right, you've waited long enough. Right now is your chance to win 2 tickets to see Adam Sandler live along with special guest Rob Schneider. The show is set for this Sunday at Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center in Noblesville. All you need to do is be the 6th caller right now. Here's the phone number, 317-269-1459. Good luck. We'll be right back.
By Window World. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:53. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. We are working for you on this busy Tuesday morning.
We have team coverage this morning after a possible tornado ripped through Pendleton last night. We want to start things off with Rafael Sanchez. Rafael.
It will be a day of recovery here in Pendleton with many down power lines and down trees. The town of Pendleton, as you can see from the streetlights, still in the dark. It could take 2 to 4 days to restore electricity to this part of the community. In fact, as you can see down this street, there's already a number of tree services that are working in the neighborhood to remove the large limbs that fell in a number of different neighborhoods. Our Alyssa Donovan is also here in Pendleton with a live look. Alyssa?
Good morning, Rafael, and we are just off of State Street. We ventured off into a neighborhood, and let me show you what we're seeing. This big tree right here fell onto a power line, ripped down those power lines, and earlier we showed you that there is a car under this tree, but just a few minutes ago I noticed there's 2 cars underneath this, and that is just a sample of the damage that we're seeing here across Pendleton. We've also seen multiple houses with trees on top of them, and also tons of trees and limbs in people's front lawns. I talked to a couple homeowners homeowners who are just starting to make their way outside to start cleaning up. One woman I talked to just down the block here said that her house is not damaged. However, she was inside when that storm came through, and she said it sounded like an explosion. So a lot of cleanup happening here today, and of course we're going to keep up to date with those homeowners and talk to them about what their plans are for the rest of the day. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Alyssa, thank you. And we have complete coverage of the storm damage across central Indiana for you. Just head to our website, theindychannel.com, or the RTV6 app. That's where you can find pictures and videos from across the region. In breaking news this morning out of Noblesville, extra police are on hand today at Noblesville West Middle School following a threat. The Noblesville Superintendent's Office sent an email to parents last night saying a social media exchange escalated into an anonymous threat made toward the school. School will be in session, and there will be additional counseling for students and staff should they need it. You may recall this past Saturday, May 25th, was the 1-year mark since the shooting at Noblesville West that severely injured a student, as well as teacher Jason Seaman, who stopped the shooter. Let's get over to Elena now.
And as you're taking to the roads, I want to point out that ISP has tweeted, and they're alerting everyone that all traffic to Pendleton has been suspended. Also, if you're trying to get off the interstate from I-69 to State Road 38, those exit ramps are closed. You can continue on the interstate, though, and you can also use US 36 to access I-69.
All right, it's a quiet morning for us. That's exactly what we needed after storms yesterday. No weather issues here this morning. 74 degrees as we work our way into the 8 a.m. hour. 81 partly cloudy by the noon hour. There will be the chance once again of a few isolated storms this afternoon and this evening, but mainly only in northern locations. So I'd say from Lafayette to Tipton to Hartford City, points to the north, could be a few isolated storms. Borderline maybe strong to severe, with wind and hail being the two main threats. Otherwise, mainly dry for everybody else. 84 degrees your high temperature. Up in northern locations, about 85 here in Indianapolis. Tomorrow, more scattered storms. Tomorrow, also a severe risk at 83 degrees. Showers, but no severe threat on Thursday. Then finally, much more quiet weather pattern as we head into Friday and the weekend.
All right. Todd, thank you so much. We are back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with more news ahead.
We want to leave you here with a live look in Pendleton. Once again, please be careful if you live in that area. And they are asking folks to not travel to Pendleton unless necessary. Have a great day.